So, have you ever really stopped to think about what insurance is? I mean, beyond just a bill you pay. It's actually a promise, a contract that's there to protect you from financial disaster. In this explainer, we're going to break down that entire journey, all the way from getting a quote to the moment you might actually need to use it.
Think about it for a second. Your home, your car, maybe even your business. What's that invisible shield standing between everything you've worked for and some catastrophic event? Well, that's what we're talking about today. It's a well-thought-out insurance policy.
Okay, so let's start at the very beginning. Most of the insurance that we deal with in our daily lives falls under this one huge umbrella called property and casualty, or P&C for short. Now, this isn't some super specific policy. It's the absolute foundation that protects both our physical things and, well, us.
P&C insurance really breaks down into two sides of the same coin. On one side, you've got property insurance. Super simple, right? It covers your stuff, the things you own, your house, your car, you name it. But then, on the other side, you have casualty insurance. Now, this is all about your liability. It's what protects you if you're the one legally on the hook for accidentally hurting someone or damaging their things.
Let's make this a little more real. So, property coverage? That's what's going to kick in if, say, a storm damages your roof or someone steals inventory from your business. Casualty coverage, though? That's what pays the other person's medical bills if you cause a car crash. Or it's what covers you if a customer slips and falls in your store. See? They protect you in totally different ways.
And this is exactly why these two are almost always bundled together. I mean, think about it from the perspective of a small business owner, maybe someone running a bakery. The risks are all connected, right? A fire starting in the oven, that's a clear property risk. But a customer slipping on a freshly mopped floor, that's a casualty risk. A single P&C policy is built to handle both. It's the whole package.
Okay, so you know you need this protection. Great. But how do you actually get it? Well, that brings us to the birth of a policy. And it's a pretty straightforward process that takes you from just asking for a price to having a real legal contract.
So the whole journey kicks off with a quote. This is where an insurance company looks at all your details, your car, your home, your driving record, and uses that to figure out how risky you are. That risk calculation gives them your premium, which is just the price you'll pay. Once you say, yep, I'll take it, you move to the next step, bind. This is the big moment of agreement. And finally, the policy gets issued, and you get that official legal document in your hands.
Let's hit pause on that word bind because it is so important. Binding is the exact second your coverage actually starts. It's basically the insurance company giving you a handshake and saying, okay, you're covered, starting right now. You are officially protected from that moment on, even if the fancy paperwork takes a few more days to show up.
All right, now for the moment of truth. A policy is really just a promise on paper until the day you actually have to use it. So, what happens when something goes wrong and you need to file a claim?
The entire claims process gets rolling because of one single action from you. It's called providing the first notice of loss, or as everyone in the industry calls it, the FNOL. It's literally just you telling your insurance company, hey, something happened. And that call, that email, that's what officially kicks everything off.
After that FNOL, a really clear process begins to unfold. First, you report what happened in detail. Then the insurance company gets an adjuster to investigate. They're like detectives, gathering facts, looking at the damage, and making sure what happened is actually covered by your policy. Finally, if the claim gets the green light, it's settled. And that just means the insurer pays out the money to cover your loss.
Let's circle back to our bakery. Imagine the oven catches fire. That's a classic property loss. The owner immediately calls their insurer, giving them the FNOL. An adjuster comes out, investigates the damage, and checks the policy. Then, boom, the insurer sends a check to replace the oven. That right there is settlement. That is the promise being fulfilled.
Now, it's really tempting to think of buying insurance as a one-and-done kind of thing, but it's not.
It's actually an ongoing relationship that has to evolve over time. So let's zoom out and look at the whole life cycle.
See, a policy isn't forever. It works on a set term, usually a year. It starts the moment it's issued, and during that year, a lot can happen. You might have to file a claim, or maybe you need to make some changes. And then, at the end of that term, both you and the insurer have to decide if you want to renew the relationship for another year.
And those changes I just mentioned, well, they have a name: endorsements. Your life doesn't stand still, so your insurance shouldn't either. An endorsement is just an official update to your contract. Did you buy a new car? Did you move? You're going to need an endorsement. Each change tweaks your policy, and yeah, probably your price, to make sure it matches what's actually going on in your life.
And that's really the biggest takeaway here. Your policy isn't some dusty old document sitting in a file cabinet. It's supposed to be a living, breathing shield that adapts as your life changes, protecting you through it all. And every year at renewal, it gets reevaluated to make sure it's still the right fit.
So all of this leaves us with one last question to think about. From that very first quote, through any claims you might have, all the way to those yearly renewals, your insurance is on a journey right alongside you. The real question you should be asking yourself is, are you making sure it's keeping up?